The vast expanse of space held many wonders, but for the Zephyrians, it now seemed cold and unforgiving. Their small fleet of ships drifted aimlessly through the cosmic void, each vessel packed with the remnants of a once proud civilization. The Zephyrians, a race known for their frail physiques and gentle nature, had been cast out from the Galactic Confederation, deemed too weak to contribute to the greater good of the galaxy. Captain Zira stood on the bridge of the lead ship, her large, luminous eyes fixed on the star-studded blackness before her. Her slender frame, barely 4 feet tall, seemed to sag under the weight of responsibility. The fate of her entire species rested on her shoulders, and the burden was almost too much to bear. "Captain," a soft voice called out. Zira turned to see her first officer, Nex, approach with a datapad in his spindly hands. "We've completed another scan of the nearby systems. Still no suitable planets for colonization." Zira nodded, her antenna drooping slightly. "Keep searching, Nex. We must find a new home before our resources run out." As Nex returned to his station, Zira's mind wandered back to the day everything changed. The Galactic Confederation, a union of the most powerful species in the known universe, had called an emergency meeting. The Zephyrians, longtime members, had arrived hopeful. They left in exile. "Your kind is a burden," the draconian representative had sneered, his scales glinting under the harsh lights of the council chamber. "You consume resources but offer nothing in return. No military strength, no technological advancements. You are useless." The words still stung, even now, light years away from where they were spoken. The Zephyrians had always prided themselves on their peaceful nature, their ability to solve problems without resorting to violence. But in a galaxy that valued strength above all else, their greatest virtues had become their undoing. A sudden alarm jolted Zira from her thoughts. Red lights flashed across the bridge as crew members scrambled to their stations. "Report," Zira commanded, her voice steady despite the panic rising in her chest. "Asteroid field ahead, Captain," Nex called out. "Our current trajectory will take us right through it." Zira's mind raced. Their ships weren't built for such hazards. The Confederation had always protected them from dangers like this. Now, they were on their own. "Evasive maneuvers," she ordered. "Relay the command to the rest of the fleet. We'll go around." The ships lurched as they changed course, narrowly avoiding the deadly field of space rocks. As the danger passed, a collective sigh of relief echoed through the bridge. But Zira knew this was just the beginning of their troubles. Days turned into weeks as the Zephyrian fleet continued its journey into the unknown. Food supplies dwindled, and hope began to fade. Whispers of doubt spread through the ships like a virus. Had they made a mistake in leaving? Should they beg the Confederation for forgiveness? Zira refused to give in to despair. Every night cycle, she would visit the ship's nursery, where the youngest Zephyrians slept peacefully, unaware of the peril they faced. Their innocence renewed her determination. She would find them a home, no matter the cost. It was during one of these visits that fate intervened. As Zira watched the sleeping children, a young crew member burst into the nursery, excitement radiating from every pore. "Captain," he exclaimed, remembering to lower his voice at the last moment, "we've detected a system ahead. 9 planets orbiting a yellow star. And one of them shows signs of life." For the first time in weeks, Zira felt a flicker of hope in her chest. Could this be the sanctuary they had been searching for? As she rushed back to the bridge, her mind filled with possibilities. Whatever lay ahead, the Zephyrians would face it together. Their journey wasn't over, it was just beginning. The Zephyrian fleet approached the yellow star system with cautious optimism. Captain Zira stood at the helm, her large eyes fixed on the view screen. The third planet from the star shimmered like a blue jewel against the darkness of space. "Life signs confirmed, Captain," Nex reported, his voice tinged with excitement. "The planet is teeming with activity. There's a civilization down there." Zira's antennae twitched nervously. "Any signs of advanced technology?" "Yes," Nex replied. We're detecting artificial satellites in orbit. They appear to be primitive by Confederation standards, but suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. Red lights flashed, startling the already tense crew. "We've been spotted," a young officer called out. "Several of the planet's satellites have locked onto our position." Zira's hearts raced. This was the moment of truth. Would they find allies on this world, or yet another hostile species ready to reject them? On Earth, chaos erupted in military command centers and space agencies worldwide. Phones rang off the hook, emergency meetings were called, and world leaders were awakened from their sleep. "What do you mean, aliens?" the U.S. president demanded, staring at his advisors in disbelief. "Sir, multiple objects of extraterrestrial origin have entered our solar system," a general explained. "They're currently holding position just beyond Mars' orbit." As Earth's governments scrambled to respond, the Zephyrians waited anxiously. Hours passed with no communication from the planet below. "Perhaps we should leave," one of Zira's advisors suggested, "if they're hostile." But Zira shook her head. "No, we have nowhere else to go. We must take this chance." Just as she finished speaking, a new alert sounded. "Captain," Nex called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the planet." With trembling hands, Zira activated the communication system. A holographic image flickered to life in the center of the bridge. It showed a human, a species the Zephyrians had never encountered before. "Greetings," the human said, speaking in galactic standard, the lingua franca of space. "I am Dr. Elena Rodriguez, representing the United Nations of Earth. We welcome you to our solar system." A collective gasp swept through the Zephyrian bridge. Welcome. It had been so long since they'd heard that word. Zira stepped forward. "Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. I am Captain Zira of the Zephyrian people. We come seeking refuge. Our species has been cast out from our former homes." Elena's expression softened. "We understand. Earth has a long history of welcoming those in need. We would be honored to offer you sanctuary, at least temporarily, while we learn more about each other." Tears welled up in Zira's eyes. After so long drifting in space, could they finally have found a home? The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Under strict quarantine protocols, a small delegation of Zephyrians was allowed to land on Earth. They touched down in a remote area, greeted by a team of scientists, diplomats, and military personnel. As Zira took her first steps on Earth's soil, she marveled at the planet's beauty. The sky was a shade of blue she had never seen before, and the air was filled with the sense of growing things. "It's so alive," she whispered. Dr. Rodriguez, who was there to greet them, smiled. "Yes, Earth is full of life. And now, it's your home too, for as long as you need it to be." The humans were fascinated by the Zephyrians. Despite their initial fears, they found the aliens to be gentle and highly intelligent. As the Zephyrians shared their story of being rejected by the Galactic Confederation for being too weak, many humans felt a surge of protectiveness. "Well, we may not be part of any fancy confederation," one human diplomat declared, "but we know that strength comes in many forms. You're welcome here." As news of the alien refugees spread across the globe, reactions were mixed. Some were fearful, others excited. But overall, a sense of wonder prevailed. Humanity had made first contact, and against all odds, they had found not conquerors or emotionless beings, but kindred spirits in need of help. For the Zephyrians, it was almost too good to be true. After so long being treated as burdens, they had found a world willing to see their worth. As the sun set on their first day on Earth, Zira looked up at the stars, her hearts full of hope. Their journey wasn't over, but perhaps, just perhaps, they had found more than a temporary refuge. They had found a new beginning. As weeks passed, the initial excitement of first contact gave way to a period of intense cultural exchange. The Zephyrians, grateful for Earth's hospitality, eagerly shared their knowledge and customs. In return, Humans introduced their new alien friends to the rich tapestry of Earth's cultures. Zira found herself in the middle of it all. Today, she stood in a bustling marketplace in New Delhi, India. The colors, sounds, and smells overwhelmed her senses in the most delightful way. "Try this, Captain Zira," said Amit, her human guide, offering her a small, steaming cup. "It's called chai." Zira took a careful sip, her large eyes widening in surprise. "It's wonderful," she exclaimed. "So many flavors." Amit grinned. "Wait until you try our food. Each region of Earth has its own unique cuisine." As they walked through the market, Zira marveled at the diversity around her. Humans came in so many different shapes, sizes, and colors. It was a stark contrast to the uniformity prized by the Galactic Confederation. Meanwhile, in a high-tech laboratory in Tokyo, Nex worked alongside human scientists. They were studying Zephyrian technology, hoping to learn from each other. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the lead researcher, shook her head in amazement. "Your energy systems are incredibly efficient," she said. "If we can adapt this technology, it could revolutionize our power grid." Nex's antennae wiggled with pride. "We may not be physically strong," he said, "but we've always valued efficiency and sustainability." Across the globe, similar scenes played out. Zephyrians visited schools, teaching children about life among the stars. Human artists collaborated with Zephyrian storytellers, creating new forms of art that blended both worlds. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. In a tense meeting room at the United Nations, world leaders debated the implications of harboring alien refugees. What if the Galactic Confederation comes looking for them? One politician demanded. Are we prepared for the consequences? Others argued for the benefits of alien knowledge and technology. The debates raged on, but for now, Earth remained committed to protecting the Zephyrians. As the sun set over New York City, Zira stood atop the Empire State Building, gazing out at the glittering skyline. Dr. Elena Rodriguez joined her, curious about the alien captain's thoughts. "Your world is so vibrant," Zira said softly. "In all my travels, I've never seen a place quite like Earth." Elena smiled. "We're not perfect," she admitted. "We have our own problems and conflicts. But we're learning, growing. And now, with you here, we have a chance to grow even more." Zira turned to her, eyes shimmering with emotion. "You know," she said, "the Confederation always said we were useless, that we had nothing to offer. But here we feel valued." "Because you are," Elena insisted. "Your perspective, your technology, your very presence. It's changing us, Zira, for the better, I think." As they talked, a group of human children approached, eyes wide with wonder. One little girl stepped forward, offering Zira a hand-drawn picture. "Is this me?" Zira asked, touched by the gesture. The girl nodded shyly. "You're my hero," she whispered. Zira knelt down, her slender frame at eye level with the child. "And you, little one, are mine," she said softly. "Your kindness, your acceptance, it saved us." As night fell, Zira reflected on how much had changed. The Zephyrians had come to Earth broken and hopeless. Now they were finding a new purpose, a new home. But challenges lay ahead. The galaxy was vast, but not infinite. Sooner or later, news of the Zephyrians' refuge would reach the Confederation. And when it did, Earth's welcome of the outcasts might be put to the ultimate test. For now, though, Zira allowed herself to hope. In the warm glow of Earth's lights, surrounded by the hum of human life, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. She felt like she belonged. As she made her way back to the Zephyrian embassy, Zira's steps were light. Tomorrow would bring new adventures, new learnings, and with each passing day, the bonds between human and Zephyrian grew stronger. The journey that had begun in desperation was turning into something beautiful, something that might, just might, change the course of galactic history. 6 months had passed since the Zephyrians arrived on Earth. As humans and aliens worked side by side, unexpected discoveries began to surface. What the Galactic Confederation had dismissed as weakness was slowly revealing itself as extraordinary strength. Dr. Elena Rodriguez sat in her lab, staring at her computer screen in disbelief. "This can't be right," she muttered, running the tests again. Beside her, Nex tilted his head curiously. "Is something wrong, Dr. Rodriguez?" Elena shook her head, still amazed. "No, Nex. Something's very, very right. Your brainwave patterns, they're unlike anything we've ever seen." Over the next few weeks, a flurry of tests confirmed what Elena had suspected. The Zephyrians possessed potent telepathic and empathic abilities, far beyond what any human could achieve. In a secure facility, Zira demonstrated these powers to a group of astonished scientists and military officials. With gentle concentration, she lifted a small object without touching it, then accurately described the emotions of volunteers in another room. "Incredible," whispered General Chen, his usual stoic demeanor cracking with awe. "And all Zephyrians can do this?" Zira nodded. "To varying degrees, yes. But we never saw it as particularly useful. In a galaxy that values physical might and advanced weaponry, these abilities seemed inconsequential." Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward, her eyes bright with excitement. "But they're not inconsequential at all. The applications for medicine, for communication, for space exploration, they're endless." As news of the Zephyrians' abilities spread, Earth's scientific community buzzed with activity. Research projects sprang up worldwide, exploring how these powers could benefit humanity. In a hospital in Berlin, a Zephyrian healer named Lyra worked alongside human doctors. Her empathic abilities allowed her to sense a patient's pain and discomfort, leading to more accurate diagnosis and treatments. "It's revolutionary," Dr. Hans Müller told reporters. "Lyra can detect ailments before they even show up on our most advanced scans. She's already saved countless lives." Meanwhile, in NASA's mission control, Zephyrian telepaths assisted with communication to deep space probes. Their abilities allowed for instant communication across vast distances, overcoming the limitations of radio waves. "We've more than doubled the effective range of our space exploration," a NASA spokesperson announced proudly. "The Zephyrians have opened up the solar system to us in ways we never imagined." But not everyone viewed these developments positively. In shadowy corners of the internet and in hushed government meetings, fears began to surface. "They can read our minds," one conspiracy theorist ranted online. "How do we know they're not controlling our leaders?" Even among those who supported the Zephyrians, questions arose. How would these abilities change the balance of power on Earth? What if less scrupulous nations tried to exploit the Zephyrians' powers? Zira and her people found themselves at the center of a growing debate. The very abilities that made them valuable now also made them a source of fear for some. One evening, as Zira walked through a park with Elena, she sensed the turmoil in her friend's mind. "You're worried," Zira said softly. Elena sighed. "I'm amazed by what your people can do, Zira. But I'm also scared. The world was just getting used to your presence, and now it changes everything." Zira stopped, turning to face Elena. "We never meant to cause trouble," she said, her large eyes filled with concern. "Perhaps it would be better if we left." "No." Elena's response was immediate and fierce. "You belong here, Zira. We'll figure this out together. Your abilities are a gift, not a threat. We just need to help everyone see that." As they resumed their walk, Zira felt a mix of gratitude and apprehension. The Zephyrians had found acceptance on Earth, but now they faced a new challenge. Could they prove that their unique strengths were a benefit, not a danger? In the coming days, Zira knew she would have to make difficult decisions. The Zephyrians' future on Earth hung in the balance. But as she looked up at the stars, Zira felt a glimmer of hope. On this remarkable planet, among these extraordinary humans, perhaps they could finally find a place where their abilities were understood and valued. The journey that had begun in exile was now entering a new phase, and whatever challenges lay ahead, Zira was determined to face them. for her people, and for the humans who had given them a home when no one else would. The peaceful morning was shattered by blaring alarms. In the United Nations Space Command Center, screens flashed red as officers scrambled to their stations. General Chen burst into the room, his face grim. "Report," he barked. A young lieutenant saluted nervously. "Sir, we've detected multiple ships entering the solar system. They match no known Earth designs." Chen's heart sank. He'd been dreading this day. "Get me Captain Zira," he ordered, "and alert all world leaders. It seems the Galactic Confederation has found us." Across the globe, humans and Zephyrians alike looked to the skies with fear and anticipation. The secret they had kept for over a year was now exposed. In the White House Situation Room, the U.S. President sat with his advisors, tension thick in the air. The door opened, and Zira entered, followed by Dr. Elena Rodriguez. "Captain," the President nodded. "What can you tell us about these ships?" Zira's antennae drooped. "They are indeed Confederation vessels, Mr. President, a mix of diplomatic and military craft. They've come for us." As if on cue, screens around the room lit up with an incoming transmission. A stern-faced alien appeared, his scales shimmering in the light of distant stars. "People of Earth," the alien spoke in perfect English, "I am High Commander Drax of the Galactic Confederation. We have come to reclaim our property." The President stood, his voice firm. "The Zephyrians are not property, Commander. They are sentient beings who sought refuge here. We granted it." Drax's eyes narrowed. "You meddle in affairs beyond your understanding, human. The Zephyrians are a burden, a failed species. Hand them over, and we will overlook your primitive world's transgression." The transmission cut off, leaving the room in stunned silence. "Well," the President said, breaking the tension, "I think we all know that's not going to happen." Around the world, similar scenes played out. The Confederation's demands were met with unanimous refusal. Humanity, despite its divisions, stood united in defense of their alien friends. In orbit, Earth's fledgling space fleet took up defensive positions. It was a pitiful force compared to the Confederation's armada, but they were determined to fight if necessary. Zira, watching from the ground, felt a mix of gratitude and guilt. "We never meant to bring war to your world," she said softly to Elena. Elena squeezed her friend's slender hand. "You didn't bring war, Zira. You brought hope, and we're not giving that up without a fight." As diplomats worked tirelessly to negotiate, Earth's military prepared for the worst. Zephyrians, eager to help defend their new home, volunteered their unique abilities. In a secret facility, Nex worked with human scientists to integrate Zephyrian telepathy into Earth's defense systems. "If we can extend our telepathic field," he explained, "we might be able to detect cloaked ships or even interfere with enemy communications." Meanwhile, in hospitals worldwide, Zephyrian healers prepared for potential casualties. Their empathic abilities, once seen as a curiosity, were now recognized as a vital asset in trauma care. As tensions mounted, an emergency session of the UN was called. Representatives from every nation gathered to decide Earth's official response. The Secretary General addressed the Assembly, her voice steady. "We face a threat unlike any in human history, but we also face an opportunity. The Zephyrians came to us in their hour of need. Now we have the chance to show the galaxy what humanity truly stands for." Cheers erupted as the vote was tallied. Earth would stand with the Zephyrians, come what may. In space, the Confederation fleet loomed ominously. Commander Drax watched the blue planet with disdain. "Prepare the assault ships," he ordered. "If these primitives want to protect our cast-offs, we'll show them the might of true galactic civilization." But as the Confederation prepared for war, they failed to notice something crucial. All across Earth, humans and Zephyrians joined hands, their minds linking in a vast telepathic network. What had started as a desperate plea for refuge had become something more, a union of two species ready to face the stars together. Zira stood on a hilltop, her eyes fixed on the sky. She could feel the determination of billions of humans, their courage and compassion washing over her in waves. For the first time since leaving her homeworld, she felt truly strong. "We're ready," she whispered, both to herself and to the stars above. Whatever the Confederation threw at them, Earth would face it united. The galaxy was about to learn that true strength comes in many forms, and that humanity, when pushed, was capable of feats beyond imagination. As the Confederation fleet loomed in Earth's orbit, a race against time began on the surface. In a top-secret facility buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, humans and Zephyrians worked tirelessly on a project that could turn the tide of the coming battle. Dr. Elena Rodriguez wiped sweat from her brow as she studied the complex diagrams before her. Beside her, Nex's antennae twitched with concentration. "If we can just stabilize the quantum field," Elena muttered, "we might be able to extend the Zephyrian telepathic range to cover the entire planet." Nex nodded, his slender fingers dancing over a holographic keyboard. "And if we link it to your satellite network, we could create a planet-wide psychic shield." The idea had come from an unlikely source, a young human girl who had asked why they couldn't just think the bad aliens away. What had started as a child's naive suggestion had evolved into humanity's best hope for survival. In orbit, aboard the International Space Station, astronauts and Zephyrian engineers worked to modify Earth's satellites. Each device was fitted with a specially designed crystal, grown from a mineral found only on the Zephyrian homeworld. These crystals, explained Zira to a group of UN officials watching the progress from the ground, act as amplifiers for our telepathic abilities. With them, we can project our thoughts and emotions across vast distances. "And you're sure this will work against the Confederation's weapons?" asked a skeptical general. Zira's large eyes blinked slowly. "Honestly, we're not sure. Nothing like this has ever been attempted before. But it's our best chance." As the defense system neared completion, tension on Earth reached a fever pitch. The Confederation's ultimatum was set to expire in less than 24 hours. Either the humans would hand over the Zephyrians or face the consequences. In cities around the world, humans and Zephyrians gathered in shows of solidarity. They held hands, sang songs, and shared meals, a vivid demonstration of the bonds that had formed between the two species. Back in the mountain facility, Elena and Nex made the final adjustments to their creation. The heart of the defense system was a massive crystal, pulsing with an otherworldly light. Around it, hundreds of Zephyrians sat in concentric circles, their minds linked in deep meditation. "All we need now," Nex said softly, "is to connect it to the human consciousness." Elena took a deep breath. "I'll do it," she volunteered. "I've worked closest with you on this project. I understand it best." Before Nex could protest, Elena stepped into the circle. As she placed her hands on the central crystal, a jolt of energy surged through her body. Her mind exploded with sensations and emotions, the thoughts of every Zephyrian in the room flooding into her consciousness. For a moment, Elena thought she would be overwhelmed. But then she felt something else, the steady, determined presence of humanity. Millions of minds, all focused on one goal, protecting their home and their friends. High above the Earth, Commander Drax watched the countdown tick away on his ship's main screen. "Prepare to fire," he ordered, a cruel smile playing on his scaly lips. "Let's show these primitives the price of defiance." But as the Confederation ships powered up their weapons, something extraordinary happened. A shimmering iridescent field began to form around the Earth, growing stronger with each passing second. Drax's triumphant expression turned to confusion. "What is this?" he demanded. "Scan that energy field." His science officer worked frantically at her console, then turned with a look of disbelief. "Sir, it's a psychic barrier, stronger than anything we've ever encountered. Our weapons, they can't penetrate it." On the planet's surface, humans and Zephyrians alike felt the power of their combined consciousness. The fear and desperation of the past days melted away, replaced by a sense of unity and strength. In the mountain facility, Alina opened her eyes, tears streaming down her face. "It worked," she whispered. "We did it." Nex helped her to her feet, his own eyes shining with emotion. "No, Alina. You did it. You bridged the gap between our species. You made this possible." As news of the successful defense spread, cheers erupted around the globe. Humanity had stood its ground, and with the help of their Zephyrian friends, they had created something the galaxy had never seen before. The battle was far from over. But in that moment, Earth had proven itself to be far more than the primitive backwater the Confederation had dismissed. They had shown that true strength lies not in weapons or technology, but in the power of unity, compassion, and the indomitable human spirit. The shimmering psychic barrier surrounding Earth held firm as the Confederation fleet unleashed its full might. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes dissipated harmlessly against the iridescent shield, much to the astonishment of Commander Drax and his crew. "Impossible," Drax roared, slamming his fist on the command console. "How can these primitives resist our advanced weaponry?" On Earth, the combined consciousness of humans and Zephyrians pulsed with determination. In the mountain facility, Alina and Nex monitored the defense system, their faces bathed in the soft glow of holographic displays. "The shield is holding," Nex reported, his antennae quivering with excitement. "But the Confederation isn't backing down." Alina nodded grimly. "Then it's time for Phase 2. Across the globe, Zephyrian telepaths linked minds with human operators. Together, they reached out into space, their combined psychic power stretching beyond Earth's orbit to touch the Confederation ships. Aboard the lead vessel, Drax suddenly staggered, clutching his head. Strange images flashed through his mind. Scenes of Earth's beauty, the friendship between humans and Zephyrians, the joy of discovery and collaboration. What is this?" he gasped, as around him, other crew members experienced similar visions. Back on Earth, Zira stood before the United Nations, addressing the emergency session. "We're not just defending ourselves," she explained. "We're showing the Confederation who we really are, who we all are together." The psychic link grew stronger. Confederation soldiers found themselves overwhelmed by emotions they had long suppressed. Compassion, empathy, the desire for peace. Weapons fell from nerveless fingers as hardened warriors wept openly. In orbit, ships began to power down their weapons. Drax, tears streaming down his scaly cheeks, opened a communication channel to Earth. We had no idea," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "All this time, we thought strength was about power, about domination. But this is true strength." The UN erupted in cheers as the message was broadcast worldwide. Humanity had not just defended itself, it had changed the heart of its enemy. Over the next few days, as Confederation ships landed peacefully on Earth, a new era of galactic diplomacy began. The once mighty alien alliance, humbled by the experience, sought to learn from the very beings they had dismissed as primitive. In a historic ceremony, broadcast across Earth, and to every corner of the galaxy, a new interstellar accord was signed. Earth and its Zephyrian allies were welcomed as equals into a reformed galactic community. Today, the UN Secretary-General announced, "We take our place among the stars. Not as conquerors, not as subjects, but as friends and partners in a grand cosmic adventure." Zira, standing beside Alina, felt a surge of pride and gratitude. "We came to you as refugees," she said softly. "You've turned us into ambassadors." Alina smiled, squeezing her friend's hand. "That's what Earth does. We take in the lost and help them find their strength." As the ceremony concluded, fireworks lit up skies around the world. Humans and aliens alike celebrated not just a victory, but the dawn of a new age of exploration and cooperation. In the following months, Earth became a hub of interstellar activity. Zephyrian telepaths, working alongside human diplomats, helped bridge cultural gaps between diverse alien species. The unique blend of human innovation and Cypherian empathy proved to be a powerful force for peace in the galaxy. Scientific breakthroughs flourished as knowledge was freely shared. The psychic defense system, once created out of desperate need, was adapted for faster-than-light communication, revolutionizing space travel and exploration. A year after the Confederation's attack, Zira found herself back on the hilltop where she had once watched the stars with trepidation. Now those same stars beckoned with promise. "Thinking about home?" Elena asked, joining her friend. Zira's large eyes sparkled. "I am home," she replied. "But I'm also thinking about what's next. There's so much out there to discover, so many new friends to make." As they gazed at the star-filled sky, a shooting star streaked across the heavens. Once, it might have been seen as a sign of invasion or danger. Now, it was a reminder of the infinite possibilities that awaited them. Earth had taken its first steps into a larger universe, guided by the twin lights of human determination and Cypherian empathy. The journey that had begun with a desperate plea for refuge had transformed into humanity's greatest adventure. And as the night deepened, the stars seemed to shine just a little brighter, welcoming Earth and its allies to their rightful place in the cosmic community.